Hello YouTube, Nodvik here. So I recently got back into town after spending just over a month in the state of Kentucky because of a recent family event that occurred there. But while I was there, I had a conversation with somebody who was very anti the COVID vaccine, a conspiracy theorist. And while discussing it with them, I had to go through a couple of different avenues of approach because she is a product of a certain culture and lack of motivation in the public education system of Kentucky. I don't mean to insult her or to insult other anti-vaxxers or to put her down or be rude or anything like that, but to provide a little context, she is unable to comprehend fractions, like 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, and so on. It's beyond her capabilities. It really is. She is in her late 40s. She couldn't read until she was 43. She just recently became literate, which, kudos to her, proud of her, yada yada. But anyway, point is, she was absolutely convinced that the COVID-19 vaccine was putting microchips into people. Yeah. Whether they were for tracking or mind control or mind reading or whatever, I don't know. I didn't ask. Instead, I decided to try to explain to her how that's not actually physically possible. To get a microchip that would go into that solution, not be visible, be injected into you, and actually function, for a couple of reasons. Microchips are transistors laid out into a logical circuit so that certain inputs produce certain outputs. That's it. They lack a power source if they're put into you, and they're not going to do anything just floating around in your body. But she says they put microchips into dogs, and those work fine. They do exactly what they need to do, and you can find your dog through the chip. Tried to explain to her what RFID is and how interfering with a magnetic field can create specific results which we can measure and assign numerical values to, and so we get an ID with it and we look up the ID in a database. So when you scan a chip by using an RFID reader, you can find out who owns this dog, but it doesn't actually lead you to your dog. It's not a GPS tracker or anything like that. None of that was sitting with her. She got this possum in the headlights look on her face, so I tried to move on to for the bigger problem, the physical impossibility problem of transistors small enough to fit into a microchip that is microscopic to do anything useful would have to be closer together and small enough to be below 10 nanometers, which is not possible because of quantum teleportation, or sorry, not quantum teleportation, quantum tunneling and quantum superposition, where if you have transistors next to each other, or on top of each other, whatever, in less than 10 nanometers apart, an electron that is currently in one transistor that goes into one transistor is about to come out of the transistor, depending on the input and what's going on with the circuit, will spontaneously disappear from one transistor and appear in the one next to it, or the one on the other side, or simultaneously both at the same time before collapsing back into the middle. They just don't work. You can't get anything reliable out of them because quantum physics. Anyway, none of that was said in her head. And it didn't matter anyway. It didn't matter what you explained to her anyway because she had proof. This is where it might get fun. So I was drinking an L8 at the time. I brought some back with me. You can only get these in Kentucky. Really good soda. It's one of the very, very, very few good things to come from Kentucky. Actually, I think you can get them somewhere in South Florida now too, as some expensive import, some fancy thing. Anyway, generally speaking, can't get it outside of Kentucky. And she was telling me about her proof. This anecdote about someone she knows whose injection site became magnetic. Some of you see where this is going. I didn't get there quite instantly. Instead, I started talking about the James Randi Educational Foundation and their $1 million prize for demonstration of anything supernatural or supernatural ability or power, and the many, 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 many claims of magnetic people and magnetic skin and what have you, and how they were debunked as easily as putting talcum powder on their skin because it's not magnetism holding the metal to their body. None of that made sense to her, none of that sunk in, so I decided, looking at the bottle cap to my L8, to demonstrate it for her, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Now, this bottle cap is not a ferrous metal. It doesn't stick to magnets. It's not iron, it's not steel, it's not nickel, it doesn't stick to magnets. And as you can see, it doesn't stick to skin either. Ta-da! It's almost like magnets have nothing to do with it. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.